extreme speeds on the shoulder and trying to evade those officers behind him. Those are officers from California Highway Patrol's Westminster office. They are falling back because the driving is becoming just too dangerous, instead relying on the Orange County Sheriff's Department helicopter, which is continuing to follow this white Tahoe up the 5 freeway, heading into LA on the shoulder in just a bit, and trying to actually in LA County now, still committed to that shoulder. Oh, coming very close here to some other vehicles. This is a pretty busy time of the night here on the 5 freeway, especially on a Friday night, and he is encountering a bit of traffic, but he is speeding up right up behind these motorists, coming very close. There have been a number of reported close calls during the course of this pursuit over the last 30 minutes or so, but you can see him hard brakes right behind some of this traffic, even though he's got quite a few brake lights up ahead of him here. Wouldn't be surprised if he looks for an opportunity to get back off of the freeway. He was off the freeway briefly just a few minutes ago, got off on Brookhurst, made a U-turn, again almost on the wrong way of the road there, and then entering the 91 freeway before, again, jumping back onto the 5 freeway, northbound 5 freeway, weaving through traffic at a very high rate of speed. We'll go ahead and throw up our real-time speed tracker here, and you can see he's pushing a County now here in just a bit, as he actually in LA County now, still committed to that shoulder. Oh, coming very close here to some other vehicles. This is a pretty busy time of the night here on the 5 freeway, especially on a Friday night, and he is encountering a bit of traffic, but he is speeding up right up behind these motorists, coming very close. There have been a number of reported close calls during the course of this pursuit over the last 30 minutes or so, but you can see him hard brakes right behind some of this traffic, even though he's got quite a few brake lights up ahead of him here. Wouldn't be surprised if he looks for an opportunity to get back off of the freeway. He was off the freeway briefly just a few minutes ago, got off on Brookhurst, made a U-turn, again almost on the wrong way of the road there, and then entering the 91 freeway before, again, jumping back onto the 5 freeway, northbound 5 freeway, weaving through traffic at a very high rate of speed. We'll go ahead and throw up our real-time speed tracker here, and you can see he's pushing about 90 miles an hour at times, coming up right up behind everybody in front of him, really tailgating these rush hour drivers as we close out the 7 o'clock hour here, but traffic still pretty heavy going into the top of the 8, and you can see a party bus right there cutting him off, and now speeding down that number 2 lane where he has a little bit of room to play with here. It's going to jam up once again in the next mile or so. Traffic pretty busy in both directions. As I look off to the north from Air 7 HD, I can see quite a bit of traffic. Most of it happens to be coming this way, heading southbound, but now turning his lights off. You can see he's now blacked out the vehicle. What we don't see is a night sun. Not sure why. It could be tactical, or there could be another reason why that sheriff's helicopter is not using the night sun. But again, once he finds a clearing, pushes the pedal to the metal about 100 miles per hour past all of this traffic underneath Carmenita Road now, continuing northbound through Downey along the 5 freeway. Still doing about 100 to 105 miles per hour with his headlights and headlights and taillights off. At one point rolling down the window, at least the passenger was, but on the driver's side it looks like all of the windows are back up, but that is an indication that there may be more than one person inside of the truck. Don't know how many people are in there, but if that passenger side window was coming down before, maybe an indication that there might be more than just a driver. In any event, again, this is a suspect wanted for grand theft out of Orange County. Started in the, I think, Anaheim area. Getting back over to the right, again, possibly looking for an opportunity to exit the freeway here, just based on all of the traffic he's encountering. Barely able to maintain control, and the pursuit is still very much on. You can see those units, Code 3, CHP, with their lights and sirens on, giving him a little bit of distance. They don't want to agitate him too much, but they are not willing to let this go. The driving is extreme here. You can see it, especially with his lights off. Additional California Highway Patrol units setting up ahead of him here. They may start blocking off some of the entrance ramps to create a traffic break. That would be great if we can see them clear out some of this traffic either in front of him and definitely.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when...
Okay, copy that, Jamie. Okay. Thank you, everyone who is joining us online and all of our streaming platforms. I'm Eliana Moreno, News Chopper 4 Alpha, along with my pilot, James Pollard, and we are following a dangerous pursuit here on the northbound side of the 5 freeway, now in the Downey area. So we're just north of the 605 freeway, and he's riding on the right shoulder. So this is a very dangerous situation because if there's a car broken down, this is exactly where that vehicle would be. So unfortunately, he is quite dangerous in that sense. He's been driving on the right shoulder quite a bit since we arrived overhead because he's trying to get past some of the slower moving traffic here on the northbound 5. Oh, just barely missed hitting those two vehicles, squeezing right in between. And at this point, unclear how many people may be in the car. The Anaheim police helicopter that was just overhead said he couldn't quite make it out, but he did see a passenger window rolled up and down, so they believe that there could be as many as 2 people or at least 2 people, possibly more. And this is a pursuit that started in the Orange County area. We first heard about the pursuit when it was in Santa Ana, and it is believed that the people in this vehicle may be wanted for catalytic converter thefts. Again, out of Orange County, but now we are in LA and exiting here into the Downey area from the 5 freeway. He's going to squeeze past some of those vehicles. They're waiting at the Paramount Boulevard off-ramp, and it looks like he is setting up to make a westbound turn onto Paramount. There's the CHP close behind. Now, again, this started in Orange County, so we were just listening to everything on the Orange County frequencies, but it is now switching over to LA frequencies on the scanner because right here, they're going to move in for the pit, and he's able to get right out of it. So unfortunately, that officer from the California Highway Patrol didn't have the momentum that he needed to perform a successful pit maneuver, and the driver was able to just drive right out of it. And now he's back on the freeway, this time headed southbound 5. So going to be heading back in the direction that he just came, and perhaps that was his intention all along, to essentially reverse course and head back into Orange County. Well, weaving in and out of lanes, it's just so dangerous. And on a Friday night, it's just busy on our freeways. People, of course, are off of work now, and you can see him losing control there somewhat. And we do see sparks going flying from time to time. I had initially heard that he had perhaps lost a tire, which I don't believe he's lost it completely because he wouldn't be driving the way that he is if he had. So I think it may be a situation where there may just be a flat tire and he's driving on a flat, and that's why we're seeing some of those sparks. So I'm listening to the scanner. They're running the plate right now. They want to figure out where this vehicle comes back to in terms of registration, because that may lead them to that city, if that is where this vehicle is going to come to a stop. So you see the sheriff's ship there. It's from the LA County Sheriff's Department. It is now following this pursuit on the southbound 5 freeway coming up to Lakewood. So we're coming back in the direction of the 605 freeway. He was never on the 605, he was just on the 5, as well as Orange County freeways, the 91, as well as the 22 and the 55 freeway. Just in and out of lanes, just so dangerous. And there's traffic as far as the eye can see. So I'm just looking up ahead, and I don't see it really getting any better for quite some time. And perhaps that is why he decided to reverse course, because once he got in LA County, it was just too busy. And so he's headed back south now, going under the 605 freeway. You see him pop out there just in the right lane now, moving, or left lane, moving over to the right lane rather. And the speeds in and of themselves really aren't that fast. If you look at the speeds, he's roughly freeway speeds. The problem is that he is just weaving in and out of traffic, really using every lane possible to try to escape to the best of his ability. And I'm saying he, but though at this point it is unconfirmed if it is in fact a male driver, and again it's also unconfirmed how many people may be inside of this car. So again, CHP in pursuit behind the vehicle, and it's a sheriff's airstrip from the LA County Sheriff's Department that is overhead. So a joint effort here, and it was originally the Anaheim police helicopter that was over this pursuit. But once we entered LA County, the LA County airstrip took over. So I'm hearing on the scanner that the dispatcher is advising the CHP units for the Orange County area that the pursuit is heading back in their direction. So what happened was when we got into LA County, the Orange County units dropped out rather. And so now that we're headed back into Orange County, they may be able to take back over. Oh, he just dropped something. Unclear what that was. It hit the sheriff's or the CHP vehicle. Yeah, the officer doesn't know what that was. He's asking his fellow officers to try to retrieve whatever item that was that he just threw out the window. Something else just went flying. So you're seeing things flying from either window. So I'm going to push in here so we can see some of this. So clearly there's a passenger. I see somebody there in the back seat. He's throwing car parts is what the CHP is saying over the scanner. So they believe that the driver and his passenger who were wanted for catalytic converter thefts are now throwing some of those items out of the window. So these are going to be car parts that were possibly stolen from their rightful owners in the Orange County area, which is actually what led to this pursuit. So that is incredible. I've never seen somebody do such a thing, to just throw the car parts. That is so incredibly dangerous. Still continuing southbound though here, 5 freeway, Carmenita Road. Traffic still moderate. Lots of traffic on the northbound side of the 5, but he's headed southbound, so it's going to be slightly lighter than the northbound side. South 5 at Carmenita. It's going to be a little bit before he gets to the next freeway. That will be the 91 though when he comes up to it. And again, the CHP is going to try to retrieve those items. They believe they were car parts though. Approaching Valley View here, speeding up just a touch. Now this is the area that has been under construction for quite some time, so you see him moving into the construction zone there, which is essentially what is one day going to be the carpool lane. And again, if you're just joining us, this is a pursuit that started in the Orange County area. We first heard about it in the Santa Ana area, and this pursuit has made its way on the 55, the 91, the 22, and the 5 freeways. And the people inside of the vehicle are wanted for possible catalytic converter theft. Now, what I don't know at this point is who the original agency was. When we first heard about it, the CHP was already on it with an Anaheim police helicopter overhead, so it very well could be a smaller agency within the Orange County that originated this pursuit and has since handed it over to the California Highway Patrol since the pursuit is on the freeway. Southbound 5 here at Knott. He's driving blacked out, so that makes it even more dangerous. Really picking up speed here. Almost 100 miles an hour. So dangerous. Just south of Beach here on the 5 freeway. Again, southbound, so headed towards the area of Buena Park, Knott's Berry Farm. So still in the Buena Park area, you can see that there is a bit of traffic as you approach the 91 freeway. And let's see if he does get on the 91, because he was on the 91 before. So he may just be trying to get back to where he came from. And currently he is set up for the 91, but it looks like he's going to change his mind at the very last moment and continue southbound 5. So this is going to make it interesting for us, because that will put him into the Disneyland TFR. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to climb to an altitude of 3,000 feet or more, so that we'll be able to continue this, to follow this pursuit here through the Disneyland TFR, which is a temporary flight restriction of about 3 miles around the Disneyland area. So you see him here coming up to Magnolia on the southbound 5. CHP still in pursuit. You see the squad car right behind him. I'm going to widen out just for a moment. I want to see how many squad cars are on this. Okay, I'm seeing 3. So seeing 3 units of the California Highway Patrol behind the suspect vehicle, and of course the helicopter overhead. Heavy traffic here. So he's riding the right shoulder. Oh, this is so dangerous. Gosh. That vehicle had pulled over because he saw the police lights, so he thought, oh, I'll pull over and get out of their way. But unfortunately, he was riding the shoulder, so he almost got hit by this guy. But he's now back in the right lane. So let's see if he decides to exit, perhaps, just because of all of the heavy traffic. If he exits, that's going to put him into the city of Anaheim, in which case Anaheim PD could take over the pursuit if they wanted to. And of course, the California Highway Patrol would also have to want to relinquish it. Southbound 5 at Brookhurst now. So he's headed towards Disneyland now. 5 south at Euclid. Now 5 at Lincoln. Staying in the middle lane now. Back with you guys here. Just heard that he's throwing car parts out the window again. So if you missed that earlier, what happened was as he was coming south on the 5 freeway, we started seeing sparks flying on the roadway, and it turns out that the occupants of this vehicle are throwing car parts out of the car. Now, that is significant because we had heard that the original reason why police were in pursuit of this car was because of catalytic converter thefts. So there's a possibility that those items that they were throwing happen to be some of those catalytic converters. Now, our assignment desk is making some calls so we can figure out who the original agency was that started this pursuit, because that'll help to answer some of the questions that we may have about how long this has been going on, and then where this originated, because oftentimes these pursuits will end where they started. So we're actually back where we started. This pursuit started in Orange County. We're back in Orange County. We're in Anaheim. We're right next to Disneyland here on the southbound 5. And the nearest exit, of course, Disney Way. So you're going to have a little bit of traffic coming up to that exit. And you see the speeds, they're really picking up, which is not good because this area tends to be busy with Disneyland. A lot of people exiting to go to some of the shops there, not only at Disneyland, but Disney's California Adventure. And you see him moving over to the carpool lane for just a moment. But now back in the regular lanes. He's coming up to Catella. So he's going to have some options coming up here because the 22 freeway is going to start here soon. And he actually was on the 22 when we first heard about this pursuit. So he may be trying to get back on that 22 freeway to head back home. We're hearing that the officers are asking for the K-9 units to kind of come to the area so that in case there's foot bails, that they'll have the K-9 officer ready to go if his services are needed. Continuing here though, southbound 5, coming up to State College. So we're coming up to the Orange Crush here in a moment. That's where the 5, the 22, and the 57 all come together in the city of Orange. And if he continues south a little bit past that, then that's where the TFR will actually clear. So we'll be able to descend a little bit for you guys since we're still above it. The Santa Ana units of the CHP are now getting into place to follow this pursuit because originally was the Westminster units when this pursuit was first picked up by the CHP. And then when they got into LA, they passed it over to the Santa Fe Springs unit. And now that we're back in Orange County and in the Santa Ana area, they're handing it over to the Santa Ana units of the California Highway Patrol. So right now they're coordinating, having some units drop out, get others into place. So now we're coming up to 17th Street, so we're still in Santa Ana. We're next to the iconic Santa Ana Water Tower. For all of the residents in Santa Ana, you know where that is, right here off of the 5 and 17th. And this is always a difficult stretch of the 5 freeway. There's always an accident. Every time I go through here, there's always an accident because there's lots of lanes, so people just get confused, and so then it causes collisions. So we may notice a little bit of backup just because people are a little bit unsure of what lane they're supposed to be in, because you have not only 2 carpool lanes, but you also have the transition of the 55 freeway coming up soon. Okay, still high speeds here, almost 100 miles an hour. There's some of that traffic I was talking about, so you see that it's getting just a touch busier as he comes up to 4th Street. And again, we're in Santa Ana. If he continues up to the 55, that'll put him in Tustin, but not for long. Tustin only goes up to Jamboree, and past Jamboree it becomes Irvine. So it looks like he's going to take the carpool lanes to get by here. I don't believe there's a transition to the 55 from the carpool lane on the southbound 5, so I think he's going to be forced to stay southbound 5. So now entering Tustin. Still have 4 units of the California Highway Patrol in pursuit. So the Santa Ana units have officially taken over. I'm hearing it on the scanner. And we are in Tustin now. They're giving him a little bit of room, and that very well could be because of those items that they have thrown out before. If the officers have at least a little bit of space between them and the vehicle, then if they do throw anything else out, they'll have at least some time to try to dodge it, because these are car parts that they were throwing out. Heavy metal car parts that could easily shatter a front window. And so for that reason, the officers don't want to be directly behind him. They want to give him just a little bit of room. So we're now South 5 at Red Hill. After Red Hill, you have Tustin Ranch, and then you have Jamboree. So we'll really only be in Tustin for about 2 more exits before we're going to enter the Irvine area. Yeah, they're saying he was throwing big car parts out the window, or the exact words. So for that reason, they're just asking all of the officers that are trailing this guy to be extremely careful if they are traveling behind him. And unfortunately, of course, you've also got just regular civilians, just regular folks that are out and about on a Friday night on the southbound 5 freeway, and they could get some damage from those car parts. So this really is endangering the general public, in addition to them just trying to get away. So now we're in Irvine. I'm seeing a window rolling down there on the back seat. So perhaps we'll see them throw something else out again. Hopefully not. But this has been just such a dangerous chase. There we go. So exactly what we thought he was going to do is what he did. So they threw something else out the window just a moment ago. You saw it go flying there out the left side of the vehicle. The Capistrano units of the California Highway Patrol are now being advised. And you'll notice that the vehicle looks a little dark. It's because he's driving without his headlights on. So that just makes it even more dangerous. You have somebody driving literally 90 miles an hour plus coming up behind you, and he's got no lights on, so you wouldn't see this guy until he flies right past you. So it makes for such a dangerous situation. He's been driving on the shoulder and the center divider, just weaving in and out of lanes. So it's been a very dangerous chase. And again, as far as we know, these folks are just wanted for catalytic converter theft. But when you think about everything we've witnessed during this pursuit, the number of charges that are going to be added to their behavior, I can't even begin to count. You've got felony evading. You've got, obviously, them throwing the car parts out of the windows, which is endangering the lives of literally everybody who's on this freeway, because that could easily cause an accident. And just some of the dangerous driving that we've seen is almost unfathomable. Now, as I widen out the shot, I'll show you some of the units that are still following this guy. You're seeing at least, I believe it's 4. And sometimes he's difficult to spot because he, again, doesn't have his lights on. The windows are darkly tinted as well, so unless they roll their window down, we really can't see them. And again, at this point, unclear how many people may be in the car, but we know it's at least two because we've seen somebody in the back seat. And of course, there's the driver. And then there was also, from what I heard initially on the scanner, the officer could see the passenger window in the front rolling up and down. So there's a possibility there could be three people. But of course, this is a larger SUV. Usually these cars can fit about 7 people, if I'm not mistaken. So when this does come to an end, and it will come to an end at some point, they'll have to make call-outs, starting with the driver, and then of course anybody else who may be inside. And then once they don't get a response anymore, they'll clear the car to make sure nobody is hiding inside of the car. Now, as far as we know, the car's not stolen. So they've been able to run the registration on it, and they know where it comes back to, so they can send some officers to that area in case that is where this pursuit is going to come to an end. Okay, back with you guys. I was just taking care of a quick little housekeeping issue up here at News Chopper 4 Alpha. And I'm actually going to take a super quick break. And I'm going to just say a few words for our sister station Telemundo, as we are streaming on their website as well and all of their platforms. And as soon as I'm done in Spanish, we will resume our coverage in English. Buenas noches desde el helicóptero. Yo soy Eliana Moreno reportando sobre una persecución que ahora está en la autopista 5 en el área de Irvine, cerca de la salida Bake Parkway. La patrulla de Caminos de California está persiguiendo a las personas adentro de este vehículo blanco por posible robo de partes de autos en el área de Orange County, o el condado de Orange, más bien dicho. La persecución empezó en la área de la autopista 55 y también estuvo en la autopista 22, la autopista 91, la autopista 5, yendo en dirección norte hasta que llegamos al área de Downey, donde el conductor del vehículo se salió de la autopista y se fue en la dirección opuesta, ahora en la autopista 5, pero en dirección sur. Y ahora estamos en el área de Irvine. Esta es una persecución de alta velocidad donde hemos visto velocidades de hasta 100 millas por hora, pero al momento se desconoce 3, pero como pueden ver es muy difícil poder ver por las ventanas del vehículo. Entonces, en verdad, los oficiales de la Patrulla de Caminos de California no saben exactamente cuántas personas hay adentro del vehículo. Y como pueden ver de estas imágenes, tenemos a 4 patrullas del Departamento de Patrullas de California detrás del vehículo, y también tenemos al helicóptero de la policía de Anaheim sobre la escena. También hace unos minutos también teníamos al helicóptero del condado del sheriff de Los Ángeles, pero al momento no lo veo, entonces no sé si ya se fue del área y si solo es el helicóptero de Anaheim que sigue persiguiendo a este vehículo. Pero también otra cosa más que les quiero mencionar es que durante la persecución hemos visto que el conductor o sus pasajeros, más bien dicho, han estado aventando partes de autos a la autopista. Y hemos visto eso ya varias veces, que obviamente es algo muy peligroso cuando tenemos condiciones como estas, donde estamos en una autopista donde el conductor está manejando a alta velocidad. Hay bastante tráfico esta noche aquí en la autopista 5, ahora entrando en el área de Laguna Hills. Pero como les digo, esta persecución continúa aquí en la autopista 5, llegando a la salida de la calle Alicia Parkway. Reportando desde Laguna Hills, desde el helicóptero, yo soy Eliana Moreno, Telemundo 52. And back with you guys here in English. no problem, Jamie. We were just saying a few words there for our sister station, Telemundo. We have the unique ability of being able to go back and forth between both languages. And so if we can do any part by just letting the public know about how dangerous this is and where it's at, we're thankful to be able to do it. So thank you for allowing me to do that here on the air. But we continue here southbound 5 at Alicia Parkway, coming into the area of Laguna Hills, where what you can see is a little bit slow. There's, of course, a lot of restaurants that people like to frequent down here in this area on a Friday night, especially if you're headed towards the Laguna Beach area, Laguna Hills, of course. Thank you, Jim. My pilot, Jim Pollard, of course, doing a great job of flying this pursuit, but he's actually warning me that up ahead he's starting to see some fog, so that may limit our coverage and how far we're able to continue following this pursuit. If there were no fog, we could follow this into San Diego. I've followed pursuits into San Diego before, and I know I've had coworkers who have followed pursuits all the way to Mexico, and of course just up to the border, and then we can't follow it beyond that. So the furthest I've ever followed a chase is San Diego, but we're still a ways away from that. We're currently in Mission Viejo, but I am seeing that fog as I look out the window of News Chopper 4 Alpha. It looks like it's going to still be at least 5 miles up ahead. Before we're going to hit that bank of fog, but we'll deal with it when we get there. If we can't continue any further, then we will try to keep you as informed as possible on the current location, at least, even if we can't bring you the images. But for now, while we can still see it, here is the southbound 5 freeway at Oso Parkway. So still in Mission Viejo, coming up to areas like Ladera Ranch. Beyond that, you're looking at areas like Rancho Mission Viejo. So highly residential areas, but of course the 5 freeway runs through here. Really the only freeway that runs through here. You do have some toll roads, but those are just a little to our south. All right, thank you, Jim. Copy that, Jim, thank you. And what we were just talking about, the fog, is actually just coming into place. So again, my pilot, James Pollard, is telling me that all of the airships that were following this pursuit are going to have to hold at our present position. So we're basically going to have to hold here on the southbound side of the 5 at Oso Parkway, which puts us in the Mission Viejo area. And we're just going to use our camera here in News Chopper 4 Alpha to just follow it from a distance. And of course, there's always the possibility that he could turn around on the northbound 5, and if he does, we'll be able to continue our coverage beyond that. Go ahead, Jamie. Back with you guys here. So you can kind of start to see some of that fog come into the picture. That's why our picture's looking a little foggy. There you go. No pun intended. And so he is now southbound 5 here at Avery. I'm going to use my doubler here so that we can see him as he's going to become smaller and smaller in the frame. I am hearing about the possibility of deploying a spike strip at some point, and I do know the location, but I'm not going to share it at this point because we wouldn't want the news to somehow get back to the people in this vehicle. So as I widen out the shot just a touch, it'll give you a better idea of what that fog is doing. So literally just covering up the 5 freeway. But you can still kind of make out the police department lights there from the California Highway Patrol as it proceeds here south on the 5. But I've got my ear on the scanner, so I'm still going to be able to hear the dispatcher call out the next location. And if by any chance we see a turnaround, we hear a turnaround, then we will be able to rejoin it. But for now, we'll just hold it here over Mission Viejo, now looking in the direction of Rancho Mission Viejo and San Juan Capistrano. I'm just, I think, getting the last few seconds of visible police lights there on the northbound 5. So yeah, beyond this, you know, of course, the 5 freeway continues all the way into San Diego. But as far as we can see, all we're seeing is fog. So there's really no glimpse of the 5 freeway even beyond that from our current position. But we will continue to listen to it on the scanner. If by any chance we hear it turn around or exit onto surface streets, then that'll give us some options in terms of our ability to follow it. But for now, again, we are currently in the Mission Viejo area. The pursuit is now in San Juan Capistrano and continuing south. A pursuit of individuals wanted for possible catalytic converter theft out of Orange County, made their way all the way into LA County and are now back in Orange County, but specifically South Orange County, headed in the direction of San Diego. So we'll continue to monitor. Very much for watching, and we'll see you at 11.
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't.
San Diego proper and get off. This may be handed off to San Diego police at some point or additional CHP offices. You can see as he makes his way down to Oceanside, it's like you said, it's basically a straight shot along the ocean. Not many opportunities for him to get off, but if he is able to find a spot to get off, well then he you know, might be in a position where he could look for a place to dump the vehicle, which we often see, and then things get dicey. But at least for now, he seems to be committed to the freeway. We'll just have to see how this ultimately comes to an end.
All right, Chris Christie in Air 7 HD, we thank you and your crew for your airborne coverage of this pursuit. We're going to leave it there, and thank you for joining us on the web and on our various streaming